Guess who's back again. JB's back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back.
Start of the video.
Evening Chelsea fans, welcome back to another weekend of Chelsea Chat with me, Moose and JB. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification, like below and comment. Obviously we're happy for anything, including Bulldogs, to be put in. So this week we're going to talk around the Norwich game, another great win. We've just got off watching the Man United game, so we'll touch on some great comments on that. We'll go through everyone's favourite element as the transfer tracker and then into sort of the final two games. So this is our final Chelsea Chat before the end of the season. So by this point next week we'll know where we are, whether we're in Europe or not. Obviously the top four is currently pretty tight.
It's going to go right down to the wire, I think, isn't it?
So JB, the Norwich game. First and foremost, it's 3 points on the table. And a step forward towards getting top four. Some of the other competitors in that space haven't had the bestest of weeks. So for us, that was a great win. Not necessarily the game we thought we were going to have. A bitty game, I think, is the probably the honest assessment I felt. But what were your thoughts?
I think it was just a case of job done, really. It didn't, at this stage in the season, it really doesn't matter how you get your points. As long as you get the 3 points, that's the important thing. You know, I mean, in terms of the performance, it wasn't great, but it wasn't awful. Norwich didn't make us look good. They didn't make us look bad. It was just a case of we got the one goal we needed. We played, the second half. We just killed off the game and waited until it was the end. So everything I've seen has just described it as a professional performance, and I'd kind of go along with that. Really, there's not much to say about it, to be honest.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like another great performance by Olivier Giroud. I mean, considering at the beginning of January we were considering letting him go, he's been by far one of the outstanding performers since he's come back. And he just seems to get the job done. We're in that position now that we've had some great youth playing around. But, I mean, Olivier does an amazing job. I think we've spoken around it during the week, but one of the things I think we struggled with is we were probably more defensively minded than we would have liked to have been. Considering Norwich are down and out from all intensive purposes, they're already relegated by the time they came into that game. Having Kovacic and Jorginho in the middle was quite a negative performance. Just didn't have that something to going forward that we've had when we've had Mount and Barkley in that game. Great having Kova back. Don't get me wrong, but we just seemed a bit flat, if I'm going to be honest. As you say, we got the points, and I think that's the main thing from the Norwich game. Norwich haven't had great results from some of the other games they've had with Premier League teams. I'm just having an honest assessment. There wasn't much to take away from the Norwich game. I don't think there's much for us to sort of really jump on. I mean, 67% possession, great stat, but it was just very much we didn't do a lot with it.
I think the key stat that I saw was the expected goals, which was 3 point something. Really, I mean, we scored one, so it shows that we were not clinical, but we won the game. That's, as I said before, it's nothing else really matters. We needed the 3 points, we got the 3 points, and we just moved on from there, I think.
Norwich is another 3 points. It's put us into, I think, 64 points on the board with only 2 games left. Great position to be in. We're still third. Leicester have had another game on top of us, and we're still in that third position. So we're in a really promising place. Looking forward, obviously, we have the Premier League game. We've then just finished watching the Man United game, which I think is very much a tale of two different games. The Norwich game, as you said, probably the epitome of being a professional game. I think we came out with a completely different mentality for the Man United game. We knew this was going to be hard. We knew this was going to be a really important game, even though it's not Premier League. Winning over Man United in the Cup, winning over, probably sort of putting a bit of a pressure on the rest of the top four as to what we can do. And boy, did we turn up today. First and foremost, a 3-1 victory. And I think we could have had a lot more than 3. My prediction was 2-1. So I wasn't far off, but that result really doesn't do it justice. 3-1, we absolutely dominated. I think if we start with the lineup, fair play to you, JB. You seem to get it spot on or nearabouts.
Right, yeah, I got the formation right. I felt that because the 3 times we played them already this season, they've just counter-attacked us every single time and managed to get their goals that way. So the way I saw it was, if we play 5 at the back, we're less susceptible to the counter-attack. And I thought Lampard probably would have looked at that and thought that would be the best way to go forward. I kind of just had that feeling that most of the time when we've played 5 at the back, especially against the bigger teams, it seems to have worked for us. So I kind of had a feeling. Plus, he played Alonso during the week, which I kind of felt maybe was just a little warm-up, almost ready for today. So everything put together, I thought, yeah, he's going to go for a 5 at the back. I didn't expect Pulisic to drop out, but it sounded like he had an injury anyway, or a slight niggle. So I think he was just rested in the end. But no, I think it was the best decision to go for that. United, you would have expected them to go to a 4-2-3-1 as they've been playing recently, and a 5 at the back formation tends to play well against a 4-2-3-1. They tried to match us instead. They probably knew or had a feeling we were going to go 5 at the back as well.
Well, they'd read our podcast, and that was the only reason.
Exactly. Yeah, they saw my predicted lineup and decided to match it. But no, I think the problem for them was that they're not used to playing with 5 at the back. We've done it a few times now. We did it obviously under Conte, so we had a few players in there that knew how to do that system. They didn't know it as well, so I think they really struggled. So I think Lampard got it absolutely spot on from the beginning to the.
I think, sort of to your point there, they didn't seem like they knew what they were doing today from a United perspective. We looked well drilled. We had a bit more enthusiasm, a bit more bite to everything we did. I mean, watching some of the performances I saw come through, Mason Mount absolutely outstanding. The ability that he had to go and chase down every single ball with such a high press, absolutely fundamentally one of the reasons why we were so successful today. I thought you saw outstanding performances from Giroud, from Kovacic again. Great game from him. And then the back 5 really worked well. And I think for me, we had the confidence in defence. So firstly, Alonso only plays well in a back 5. I think we've mentioned that a number of times, but it gives him the freedom of not having to track back, which he struggles with in a back 4. Reece James equally had that freedom that just allowed him to move forward without having to track back so much. And then I think one of the things that I felt was probably the best thing for us in defence is bringing Dave into that back 3. Because we've talked time and time again around our defensive woes. Rudiger, Zuma not having that communication presence, not having that ability to command the back to themselves. Bringing Dave just brought that professionalism to the two. Don't get me wrong, there was mistakes made by Zuma. Rudiger played really well today, but for me, when you bring Dave into that back 3, they seem to sort of all work a lot better together, able to cover each other. So that for me is a stroke of genius. I think, considering how well we played in that, I wouldn't be surprised if we look forward to the Liverpool game in a similar sort of way. But equally, one of the things we had is we brought in a more positive midfield. I know that we still had Jorginho, we still had Kovacic, but bringing Mason Mount in just gives us a bit of an edge. Someone who's willing to take a shot from outside the box. For me, he was my man of the match. As you can probably tell from the emphasis I put into that. Interesting that we left out Kepa, but
yeah, I think he tends to for the cup games. I think it's I don't know how we would play it in the final, but it's a lot of managers like to keep the same goalkeeper for the cup games, and you might even see him play the final as well. It's just one of those things. Let's just hope that Kepa doesn't start and we go to a penalty shootout, because you know what happened last time.
I don't think he'll be here if he does that again. So let's talk around the goals. So first off, my main man Giroud, just seeming to be in the right place at the right time, and making a bit of a hassle for their defence. So I know they had Bailly go off injured, and potentially nearly had Maguire going off as well. So I think that shocked their defence a little bit, and then they changed system at that point, which probably also didn't help them. But Giroud, I mean, I would not want to be a club playing us just before half time. He likes to pick his moments, and he's picking them well, but just picking their pocket. I will sort of add, De Gea should have done better on that. Should have done better to save. And then, I mean, I think he's just got that level of class. He's got that confidence, and he's playing with it at the moment. Second goal, it is that downfall of De Gea. I'm not too sure what's gone so wrong for him, to be honest. Because as much
it was such a strange one, that it really was, because like it almost looked like he didn't want to save it. It was that bad of a mistake. Like he just kind of let it hit him and go in. I don't really know what happened, but all credit to Mason Mount. You know, he knows that De Gea's got a mistake in him. I think we all do. So he thought, yeah, why not? Let's just give it a go. Early doors in the second half. And that just kind of killed the game off. Obviously, it was still a long time to play, so anything could have happened. But that gave us something to build on. You know, it was a gap, and it meant that we could just control the game from that point. If we was just able to nullify them, then it would be fine. And 1-0 is, dangerous scoreline. 2-0 is also a fairly dangerous scoreline, but it just gives you that extra bit of breathing space. If you make a mistake and they score a goal, then you've got that breathing space. And so I think it just allowed us, it kind of killed their confidence a little bit. They had a bit more of a mountain to climb, and it just allowed us to control the game from that point, and we did so really well.
And I think you make a good point there, because I think for me, even at 2-0, clubs playing us feel like they can get back into it because of our defensive issues. I think it's a little bit of a different game compared to today, but the third goal, it was just sort of great play by Alonso, ball back into the right area. I'd like to say it's a really good goal, but I'll take Maguire's own goal because it did come off him.
Just desserts after what happened in the league game when he should have got sent off and then he scored the winner. So I feel that was deserved. So
yeah, completely. I'm not bitter at all, but I'm definitely bitter about that.
Yeah,
and then I think we could have got more. I think equally, it was just a silly mistake for their goal. From my perspective, I don't think a lot of their players stand up. The only player that I did think played half decent for United was probably Bruno Fernandes. He's probably one of the biggest people to sort of start charging down the ref, trying to get VAR involved with all this. So I'm not a massive fan of him personality-wise, but fair play to him. He played half decent for them. His penalty was cheeky.
Yeah, Jorginho style. Exactly what Jorginho does for a penalty, to be fair.
But Jorginho gets away with it because he's wearing this shirt. For me, absolutely outstanding performance. Thoroughly enjoyed watching it, which I can't say I've enjoyed all of our games in recent sort of weeks. That one I did, especially because it's United. Is there anything more you want to add? I mean, it was just a lot of great performances.
It was good, yeah. I was very happy. I mean, even 93 minutes gone, I was still biting my nails, nervous, because you just don't know. They could have got another 2 penalties because it's United, so you don't know what's going to happen. So, but it was a brilliant performance. I think everyone played well. The press, we kept them high up the pitch. We were pressing them as soon as they got the ball, and once we were in control of the game, we just managed to slow everything down. And that whole Jorginho effect kind of came into play where he came in and he kept things quiet in the midfield. I mean, you said Fernandes had a good game, and yeah, I think, but he wasn't allowed to have a great game, and that was the difference. We kind of nullified him in midfield. I think Kovacic was superb as well. All the times where he had the ball and he turned and drove at them, almost in a Loftus-Cheek kind of way. He really created some dangerous moments for them as well. So it was a great game for us, at least. I enjoyed it, and another cup final against Arsenal to look forward to, which is nice. We'll end the season like we did last year, hopefully.
Yeah, great. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, FA Cup, potentially a nice bit of silverware to add to a good season.
Although I did hear earlier that we've played Arsenal in 2 cup finals and they've beaten us in both FA Cup finals. So hopefully we can right a wrong there.
Don't put that negativity on me.
Third time lucky, right?
I don't need to hear stats. I just need to see a performance that puts Arsenal to shame. Agent David Luiz getting a red card and giving us away a penalty. So now brings us on to everyone's favourite part of the week, the transfer tracker. So interesting week. Not necessarily some massive news that I've heard different from anywhere else. Big one still on the cards is Kai Havertz. There's, I think, sort of developments we've heard from Kai Havertz is the fact that there just seems to be a want to move away from Bayer Leverkusen rather than there needs to be a necessity of Champions League football, which gives us a little bit of a promise that we might be able to sign him. And following the decisions from Man City last week, we can spend as much as we like. Kai Havertz, another interesting one. Sort of the region seems to be around 75 to 80 million for Kai Havertz, which would be a great coup for us to go.
I think the only thing now that will be holding it up is just coming to that agreed fee. It sounds like we're trying to give them 50, 60 million up front with the rest kind of paid out in clauses. The other thing, we got an extra 15 million coming in because Hazard won the league with Real Madrid. So part of his deal was that if they won the league, then we get 15 million on top. So that's another bit of money coming in for us that we can put towards Havertz, which is nice. I think as we've said before, it's a big deal for us to bring in. He is a generational talent. He's one of those where if you got the opportunity, you got to go for it. He's a kind of Kaka-like player, and if you got that chance, and it just happens to fall at the perfect time for us that he's becoming available because Real Madrid are kind of out of the race. It kind of some more news from them came out this week saying they're not really going to spend big this summer. Obviously, Bayern Munich signing Sane, they're not going to be coming, and they want him to wait another year. But it sounds like now we're the kind of final option. And obviously, he's got a couple of German teammates in the squad. He likes the project. It all sounds like really good news, and I wouldn't be surprised if this time next week, or even maybe the following week, we will get that final confirmation. It's been done. I've noticed a lot of Chelsea's transfer news recently, or deals have been done quite quietly, and you don't really know much until it's finalised. So I know we've been waiting on this for a while, but it'll be out of the blue. It'll just be done. It won't be transfer fee's been agreed. They went on personal terms, and it won't roll on like that. It'll just be it's done now, and that'll be it. It'll just be a very quick kind of thing.
I mean, and I think that might be the new name of this segment, out of the blue. I like that. Equally looking for where there might be exits from the squad. Interesting one came up this week. Tammy Abraham, obviously with the potential of Kai Havertz coming into the squad. Also Timo Werner, and obviously pretty much an overhaul of the attacking element to our squad. Potentially an exit because he's stalled on some of the renegotiation of the contract. An interesting one that Wolves seem to be leading the charge on that. It's an interesting one. I wouldn't necessarily say that's one that I would back as something that's probably true.
I could see maybe if Jimenez left, but I wouldn't say he would be first choice if he went there, to be honest. They've got some good, strikers. They've got good attacking players. Even sometimes Traore plays up front as well. So I wouldn't say that would be a good move for him anyway. But yeah, you never know. I don't think he's been great, especially since the restart. But even before that, he wasn't playing well. So it's difficult because you just know if we do let him go, then he'll turn into this big superstar. So you just kind of want to keep hold of everyone, don't you?
I sort of want to. I'd like to give him another season, just to see if he comes.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to get rid of him. I think he should be competing. I don't think he should be our sole number one striker, like without a doubt. I think he needs to be competing like he is now with Giroud. I think that we need, if we've got Tammy, Giroud and Werner competing for a striker role, obviously Werner can be pushed out to the left if he's not the first choice striker. You've got some good options there. And as we know, you need a very strong squad to compete for Premier League titles, for Champions Leagues, for FA Cups, everything we're in. You need a big squad of quality. And especially now that they also said that the leagues are allowed to have 5 substitutes next season as well.
Really?
But it's down to each league to decide if they want to do that. So there is a possibility that they're going to have 5 subs going into next season as well. If we have a massive squad of quality, then it's going to be very good for us. Obviously, the smaller clubs are going to struggle with that, but for us, that's only a good thing.
Yeah, that's going to be massive. The second one is an interesting one, and we were speaking around it a little bit earlier. But the fact is, they're still on contracts for Rudiger and Christensen. Both haven't been great. It's an interesting one just to see whether they keep either or both. My gut.
I think it would be a choice. I think it's going to be one of them would stay, one of them would go. From what it sounds like, anyway. Neither of them have signed the contract, as you said. I don't think we've offered either of them a new contract yet. It's strange because if you asked me this a couple of weeks ago, I would have said keep Christensen and get rid of Zuma. Zuma had a really good game today. Christensen, obviously, he didn't play today or against Norwich, but in his last few games, he wasn't great either. So it's difficult. I think Zuma is our best at the moment. He's been our best defender consistently since he's come back into the side. But I just think, as I think I said this last week, we just need someone who's going to partner him out of the back. And I don't see really Rudiger or Christensen being that person. They'll be good as a backup, but I think we need, as I've said before, we need that one strong kind of leader at the back there. And I just don't know who that might be, though. It's a difficult one.
It is a difficult one. I'm hearing that sort of City are going to invest heavily in Koulibaly. That seems almost they're going to spend big in that space, considering that's a challenge for them. I think they need to, in all honesty, to compete with Liverpool. So I think City, off the back of being able to compete in Champions League, are going to spend big on a centre-back, which probably leaves us with Declan Rice. I don't think he is that player yet, but he is that versatile squad member that Frank might be looking for. The other ones to add, and these are probably honourable mentions, Henderson is the potential. I think we're going to struggle to go and sign someone like that, especially with the great Turkish man that potentially we might have to come in for. So,
Sorry, there was also big news around Oblak this week. I saw quite a lot of murmurs. Now, if that happens, I would be absolutely delighted. But I cannot see that happening. I mean, it was. They were saying it was going to be a Kepa plus cash deal for Oblak, which, I mean, I would give you Kepa plus 90 million, to get Oblak, and he is that good, and he can win you a game on his own. Well, he can stop you losing the game on his own, but he is just superb. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and if we could get him, that would be insane. But I cannot see.
I can't see it happen. As much
as
I'd love to see it.
I think Onana will probably be the goalkeeper that we do go for because he's not going to be too expensive. He's still quite young, and I mean, leading on to the next one, maybe Tagliafico as well, and Ziyech is already here, so that's almost just pinching a few Ajax players. They know each other well already, so
yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah.
And apparently, Willian is also holding out for a contract with us now, rather than potentially courting other Premier League. I think the performances he's put in, I think he's had man of the match performances pretty much most games since he's come back.
I think if we keep hold of Willian, I think he's going to be a squad player. He's not going to be a regular starter. Willian's good for if you're winning a game 1-0 and you're trying to hold on to it. You bring him on, he'll slow the game down. He'll, stop the counter attack a bit more. He can track back really well. He's just as good going forward as he is coming back and defending. So he is good to have. But I wouldn't see him as a starter for next season. So if we do keep hold of him, I don't really want him to be starting either, to be honest, with these new young good players coming through.
No, but to be honest, the only thing that you have got with Willian staying potentially is mature and also potentially something special coming out of sort of the free kicks he can provide, ping it in from the top corner. That comes with that maturity. As you say, I think from a starting perspective, we'll have to have a completely different approach to that. As long as he's happy playing second fiddle to a Ziyech or a Werner or potentially a Kai Havertz come in, I'd be happy to take it. And that's the thing, is that we have got a plethora of great talent there. So we'll see how it goes. Moving on nicely to the final 2 games. No biggie. Liverpool, Wolves, and a top 4 position. This is going to be interesting. I mean, I've currently got up on screen the table as it stands. We're currently 36 games played, 3rd position, 63 points. Leicester played 37 on 62 points, and United on 36 games and on 62 points. Leicester above, I think, on head-to-head, because they're equal on goal difference as it stands.
It might be goals scored.
Could be. Who knows? It's a mystery. We'll just have to leave it as that. 2 big games. So Leicester obviously only have United to play. We have 2 relatively difficult games. I say relatively. I'm going to stay in a positive mood for this Chelsea chat. Liverpool on their final game at home. Teams are playing at their last home game. Don't necessarily, if we're looking at the records, have an amazing run of form. So that may go in our favour. And then we've got Wolves. And Wolves mathematically can't finish above us. So I'm pretty much going to struggle to compete in that final top 4 push. So there's going to be less to play in that game, but they are still looking for Europa League. So it's going to be interesting. So if we look forward to the Liverpool game, what are your thoughts, JB?
I think it's really tough to call. I mean, if Liverpool have already won the league, obviously there's nothing for them to play for now. They can't get the records. They can't really. There's nothing, just nothing left for them to play for except for the want to win a football match. However, they will want to beat us because we have that historic kind of rivalry with them over the last kind of 20 years. And there's, they will want to win that game. So don't get it wrong. So I really don't know. It just depends again what kind of Chelsea turn up. If we play like we did today, we could get a good result. The thing is, if we win that game, we have got top 4 because Leicester will then be 4 points behind us and with 1 game to play. So they won't be able to overtake us at all.
I think we are. So Chelsea are 1 point clear of 5th place. Need 4 points from the final 2 games to be sure of a top 4 spot.
They can still get top 4 if they beat United, but they wouldn't be able to finish above us if we beat Liverpool. So if we beat Liverpool, that's it. We're guaranteed to be in the top 4 points ahead of them. As I said, with 1 left to play, they just can't finish above us. So It becomes almost like a cup final on Wednesday night. We've just played a semi and we're going straight into the final almost. So it's huge, and I really hope the players turn up like they did for today's game. They need to be pressing all over the park. They need to be giving it more than Liverpool give. We need to be, the heart is what's going to win the game for us if we want to do it again. I mean, we've beaten them in the FA Cup already this season. It's doable, and teams have beaten them since Arsenal beat them the other day. So it is doable. We just need that Chelsea team to turn up like they did today, like they did against City, and just come up with that performance, that one last performance to push us through to that top four space, because it's so vital we get it.
So how do you reckon we're going to play this? Because it's, as you say, today we came across really well. I think we played with the confidence of knowing that we didn't have as many defensive issues if we played with a back five. We had the benefit that Mason was driving us forward in that midfield. Obviously, Liverpool bring a very different sort of game. They are heavily focused on attacking, and don't get me wrong, it's an amazing attack they have. I think, personally, we're going to have to start with that back five again, not only on their performance of today, but equally to counteract a Liverpool attacking threat, and that counter-attack they're going to focus us around. It really then depends on who you start. Will they keep Mason? Because I think he's going to be absolutely knackered after today. The performance he put in, he'll have run kilometres. I haven't got the stats up in front of me, so I can't quote how many kilometres he ran, but he almost put in a Kante effort. I'm not sure if Kante's still going to be fit. I doubt it for the Liverpool game, but that will probably mean that you'll get a Jorginho and a Kovacic starting in the middle.
That's kind of guaranteed, isn't it, now?
Then I reckon they'll probably bring Pulisic back in to replace Mount, depending on how fit he is for the Liverpool game.
I think that I don't want to see Mason Mount drop out because of how well we played today and that pressure he brings, that press. But I also see an opportunity. I think I said this before in this podcast. I think there's an opportunity to get Liverpool in the right back area. I think Trent, he's constantly out of position. He's really, he's so forward thinking that, he's quick, but he doesn't always get back in time. And if you ping a long ball over the top of him and you've got Pulisic chasing it the other side, I think that's where we've got a good opportunity to break them down. The thing is, Mason Mount won't offer the same kind of thing, but we also need that pressing. So it's going to be a very difficult decision for Lampard who to pick, because I can't see him leaving out Willian. He's going to bring that experience, as I said before. You kind of need him for that magic if there's an opportunity for a free kick or something. So it's going to be a really tough call for the starting line. I think most of the team picks itself. I think that it's just going to be that left wing position that is up for grabs between Mason Mount and Pulisic.
I think it's going to be a really difficult game, and to be honest, it really depends who turns up, who doesn't. Liverpool will be in that party mood, but they are professionals, so it's just around that sort of stuff. Like, they're going to be lifting the trophy at Anfield in a very strange scenario that it'll be completely quiet. But equally, I wouldn't put it past them. They've had an outstanding season, as much as I hate to say it. So we'll see how that rolls. The Wolves game is going to be massively important. Wolves have had up and downs. They're one of those clubs that seem to be able to bounce back from poor results. So they had a good result with Everton at the weekend. I think for me, it's just a must win. I think we'll just throw whatever we can at that game.
If we need to, at that point, I think.
If we need to.
If we don't beat Liverpool, then that game becomes a cup final in itself. So the Liverpool game very much then the Wolves game is dependent on what happens in the Liverpool game. If we've already beaten Liverpool and job done, then I think you might see a few players rested because we all have that FA Cup final the following week. So it all depends. If it's a nothing game for us, I'll be bloody delighted. I'm not going to lie, that would be great. I'd love it to be a nothing game. Then you'd see the likes of Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek. Probably Pedro will play.
Probably Kepa as well.
Yeah. We'll get Ross Green out of retirement for one game.
Yeah.
But I think I'd imagine that would be a rested side if we beat Liverpool. If we don't, it would be all guns blazing again, go for it, and just try and secure that final victory to push us over the line.
I think it's going to be an interesting one. It's filled me with a lot more confidence, and I think we'll have knocked the Man United spirit a little bit today. They're not down and out by any stretch of the imagination, but it puts them, knocks them down a peg or two, especially considering we're unbeaten. It's 9 games now. VAR is on our side, and you'll never beat us because of it. That sort of mentality is just one on games because you've just seen clubs turn up and roll over for them. So, to be honest, though, I think West Ham are on a bit of a roll at the moment. I don't think they'll roll over because they're still not mathematically safe.
Yeah, they need a win as well.
They need a win as well. So as much as it's not a hard game, it's not an easy game as well. But yeah, it's going to be exciting few games. I think you'll see a lot from us on Instagram and giving you guys updates throughout the week. We're not going to leave you guys alone and wait for sort of squeaky bum time.
Make sure
Sunday.
to look out for our predictions on Instagram as well, because I seem to be doing quite well with the formation part of it.
I've just been choosing the squads that we should have had rather than what we necessarily did.
Maybe not today.
Equally, we're also going to start following the Chelsea FC official website as they start to do squad scored, etc. Potential of winning a nice signed shirt. You'll see me and JB trying to top up our points of how well we've done in that space. And hopefully, because we're actually great at picking a squad and choosing the right score, we'll have a signed shirt soon that you'll see hanging up behind this window here. But yeah, obviously, once again, actually this has been a great week to talk around some positivities that sit within Chelsea. An exciting week coming up. So you'll see some of our predictions, you'll see some of our squad selections, but we'll keep you up to date via our social media presence. We'd love to see you guys comment, like, share, put downs, whatever you want to see on top of that. And we'll tune in for next week when it obviously comes through. Probably look back at our season, and equally there may be an exciting announcement to the lineup for the Chelsea Chat squad if we can get the person to actually turn up. So there might be another German signing happening. You stay classy, Chelsea Chat listeners.
Cheers, guys.